Thank you for joining us this morning to honor the life of Officer Brian Elliott. I'm Dustin Grove. The Beech Grove police officer was killed exactly 1 week ago in the line of duty, and today people will gather at Beech Grove High School to remember his life and legacy and ultimate sacrifice for the community he also called home. Officer Elliott was just 33 years old. He grew up there, local guy in the Beech Grove community, graduated from Beech Grove High School in 2011, married that young woman right there, Erin, in October of 2023. Erin and the rest of Officer Elliott's family, friends, loved ones, and the entire community are gathering right here. We want to take you to Beech Grove High School for this morning's funeral. This is a live look inside the high school as police officers file into the gym. Today you are going to learn more about Officer Elliott from the people who loved him dearly. There will be fellow law enforcement officers, community leaders, friends and family who will be paying their respects today. Also people who did not know him but are nonetheless incredibly thankful for his service and who just want to also support his loved ones. I am joined this morning by Gary Woodruff, a retired police officer, former chief of the Lawrence Police Department. Gary's here to help provide some insight for us and to guide us through today's service. Thank you so much for being here.
Honored to be here to represent. Thank you.
This is obviously a sad day for the Beech Grove community, the state. You've been to far too many services like this over the course of your career.
Yeah, even one is one too many, right?
Yeah.
Yet here we are again, and but it's an honor to represent and to do right by Officer Elliott at the Beech Grove Police Department and his family.
Let's, if we can, take another live look inside the gymnasium at Beech Grove High School and talk about what exactly is happening right now as we prepare for the service to begin.
Yeah, as the service begins, this is called an officer file-by, where there will be officers that will be filing by the casket and the family. Procession starts with the Beech Grove officers, since they're the department that's directly affected here, and then followed by the Marion County Sheriff's Department and then the Eskenazi Police Department, the hospital police officers there that work there at Eskenazi. Because he was a member of all three of those agencies, most recently Beech Grove, but also with the Marion County Sheriff and with the Eskenazi Police.
The public has been invited not just to be a part of this service, but also to line the funeral processional route. After the funeral, there will be a specific route the processional is going to take. People are encouraged to line the route. You can pay your respects there. The final 1042, Officer Elliott's last sign off with the department, will happen near the police department. Let's show you now where it's going to go from Beech Grove High School. It's going to leave the high school parking lot onto the interstate, onto I-65, heading north to the 29th Street exit ramp, just north of downtown, to Illinois, and then to 34th Street. And from there, we'll go straight into Crown Hill Cemetery. And to make this happen, there are interstate closures we want to let you know about that will be taking place on the south side of the city. You're taking a look at that right there on your screen. This includes I-65 and I-70. Also, state police say you should not park on the shoulder of the highway to observe the procession. Cannot stress that enough. That's a safety issue. Again, they have asked the public not to park on the shoulder of the interstate highway. There are multiple ramp closures across the city too, including Keystone, Raymond, and 21st Street. We have the full turn-by-turn details for you at WTHR.com. You can check that route out where you can learn more about where you can line which street as that processional files by. I am curious to know, as a law enforcement veteran, how important days like this are, Gary, to you in terms of seeing the public show up to the funeral service and line that procession?
Yeah, it's of critical importance, and it's a good point of emphasis to make sure that people who do go to line the procession route, that they do so in a safe manner. Go to a parking lot, stage in that parking lot, don't necessarily just pull off to the side of the road. That's very important. But to the family and to the officers that are attending, it's so important to see that community support out there. When we had our time of need in 2005, seeing everybody come out to pay their respects, it's just of critical importance to the family, to the officers, and to the community that we serve.
And what do you think the community will be able to do or should do, consider doing in the future beyond today? you think?
Yeah, just continuing to support their law enforcement officers. It's one of the unique things about working in a smaller community is you do have that real sense of knowing your officers, by name. Just as with Officer Elliott, he grew up in Beech Grove. He was very, very well known there. And that's somewhat unique to smaller agencies, So that sense of pulling together, that department's never been more united than they are now. It's sad it takes this to do that, but they're very united now, and so to sustain that, Beech Grove is a terrific community, and so they'll pull together. They always do.
We keep hearing the term tight-knit, close-knit, which can sometimes be used as a bit of a cliche, but certainly an apt description of that community. And we've been hearing from people who grew up with Officer Elliott, heard from an elementary school teacher a couple of days ago who said, by the way, that she knew then that he wanted to be a police officer. Truly somebody who wanted to be a police officer from the time he was a kid.
Yeah, you hear that often. It's a calling. The profession is a calling. In addition to that, Officer Elliott, more than a law enforcement officer, family man, and an enthusiast in a great many endeavors beyond law enforcement. But certainly, law enforcement as a profession was a calling to him and throughout his extended family as well.
No doubt that gymnasium will be packed as people file in and get ready for this funeral and this final goodbye to Officer Brian Elliott. If you're just joining us, we are showing you live coverage of the funeral service for fallen Beech Grove police officer Brian Elliott, who was killed in the line of duty exactly 1 week ago. This is inside Beech Grove High School to accommodate the large number of people who will be attending today's service. The family will be escorted in first, followed by Beech Grove's Police Department, and then as Gary Woodruff just told us, the Marion County Sheriff's Department, where he used to work. We heard from someone with the Marion County Sheriff's Department describing him as a well-loved and respected member of that department when he was there, followed by Eskenazi Police. They will then also file in because Officer Elliott also one time worked for Eskenazi Police as well. As we take a live look there, it looks like Marion County Sheriff's deputies continuing to file into the gymnasium. After today's service, burial will take place at Crown Hill Cemetery. And for those who may not be familiar with this, Gary, this is a very unique and special place for the law enforcement community.
Yes, indeed. The Heroes of Public Safety section there at Crown Hill. It's such a serene location where so far too many police officers that had line of duty deaths are interned there. But it is a wonderful place to go out and just remember as well. Many of us have been there many times. Just being the only person there and just reflecting and remembering. It's a terrific place for the families also to be able to go and reflect and remember. But it's a very serene location, and that's where the services today will conclude at.
Today, IMPD is providing coverage for Beech Grove's police department so that all of these officers in Beech Grove can attend today's service. There's often talk about the brotherhood in policing. What does that mean in moments like this in particular?
Yeah, regardless of the agency that you are with, be it Beech Grove, Lawrence, IMPD, Speedway Police, whoever it might be, Marion County Sheriff, we all come together in moments like this. And we all serve and protect. We're protectors at heart, and so the IMPD will be taking over, providing service there to the Beech Grove community, so that the Beech Grove police officers can, in fact, attend the funeral as a group, and all the proceedings after the funeral. So that's very important also, that the people of Beech Grove that are still in need of some services throughout the course of the day, their law enforcement officers are going to be there for them, regardless of whether it's IMPD or Beech Grove or whoever may be responding. They'll still be there.
And when these Beech Grove police officers return back on shift, undoubtedly beginning tonight, right?
Quite possible.
After the service today, how do they move forward? I mean, you are police officers. You train for this kind of thing. You know this is a risk when you put that badge on, and yet you're also human, right?
Absolutely, yeah, very much human. And there's going to be human emotions, and that's to be expected. But we're also professionals, and we know that the sense of serving others and protecting others overrides everything else. And that desire to duty, that desire to be able to serve and protect others, that will override and that will prevail. It always does. Even at the same time, you have that heavy heart, and there'll be a new normal that the Beech Grove Police Department will get to. Sadly, they've been through this before, and the veterans there, they know all too well what that new normal feels like, and they'll get there, and it's meaningful to everyone. That community support, that continuing community support in the long term, will in the mid to long term will be tremendously helpful for the folks there in Beech Grove and beyond, in every community. That's helpful, because when one agency is affected, everybody's affected. Of course, there's a ripple effect.
Yeah, I can tell by the emotion in your voice. This always stays with you. In your years of service, like we had said, you've been to one is too many, but unfortunately you've been to several of these.
Far too many, but here we are today, and it's important to honor the life and legacy of Officer Elliott, the Beech Grove Police Department, and the profession as a whole, and that's exactly what we'll all do. We're grateful for that.
We are taking a look now at the memorial. This is just outside the Beech Grove Police Department. Officer Elliott's police SUV was rolled out in front of the department the day after. It was last Tuesday. They set up a tent there for people just to do something, because in times like this, we always hear from people who say, I need to do something. I can't just stay home. And so many of them have been leaving mementos, cards, flowers, remembrances. This is a live look inside the hallway now at Beech Grove High School, where people are waiting to file in. These are police officers waiting to file in. As you mentioned, Gary, we were just seeing the Marion County Sheriff's Department deputies filing in. Looks like these officers are next.
Yeah, there'll be officers that are here from throughout central Indiana, but in addition to that, all over the state, literally all over the country. You'll see law enforcement there from as far away as New York, maybe even the West Coast. You'll see law enforcement officers there from literally all over the country, but in addition to the ones from central Indiana and the greater Indianapolis area. And it's just a great way to be able to show respect to your fellow law enforcement officers. And it is a brotherhood and a sisterhood, of course. And it's imperative to be able to provide that support to the family of Officer Elliott in particular.
I was watching the coverage last night of Officer Elliott's visitation, and one of the officers we heard from said, when one of us dies, some of us, we all lose a part of us.
Yeah, very accurate.
Not just here in the community, but also nationwide.
Right.
It's remarkable and so incredibly powerful to see police officers, not just from outside the central Indiana community, but police officers from across the country coming to this funeral. Yeah,
it's very meaningful, and it is part of that one of those unique aspects to the profession of law enforcement that sets it apart, that sets us apart, but also emphasizing that community support as well, in addition to the law enforcement officers representing their agencies that are here. Seeing the citizens that come and pay their respect, and that will line the procession route as well. If they can't actually come to the service, then lining that procession route, whatever they're able to do, it is most meaningful. And as we continue to see the file by there, you see some of the folks in plain clothes there. I suspect those are probably federal law enforcement that are attending there as well, in addition to possibly plainclothes detectives. But a lot of those are going to be federal law enforcement that will be representing that aspect of the public safety profession as well.
After the processional, the MC and best friend of Officer Elliott, Joshua Shrum, will be giving a welcome, and that will be followed by eulogies from Beech Grove Mayor James Kaufman, Beech Grove Police Chief Michael Maurice. Officer Elliott's best friend will also give a eulogy. There will be music, closing, and then a recessional, and then on the way to the hearse for the funeral procession to Crown Hill Cemetery, pallbearers will be Officer Elliott's father, Bob, along with his very close friends. His best friend, as we mentioned, Joshua Shrum, along with Reed Harrington, Quentin James, Pascal Arnez, Brian Plew, his brother, Sam Elliott, and also his shift captain, Tyler Frankel. Those are the pallbearers for the funeral service. Gary, you had mentioned a couple of minutes ago, it bears repeating and underscoring that Officer Elliott was not just Officer Elliott.
Right.
He was someone who made a big impact on the lives that he touched and was involved in his community, married to his wife, Erin. Described in the funeral program today, their marriage was a testament to love and partnership.
Yeah, that's a beautiful testament, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
In addition to being the family man, the husband, son, larger family. There is some law enforcement within Officer Elliott's family, certainly, and he was a motorcycle enthusiast and played bass guitar. What a talent that is.
That's right. Also, vice president of the Circle City Cigar Club.
Yeah. I'm not a cigar person myself, but it's just in addition to being the law enforcement professional that he was, there's a human aspect to this.
Yeah.
We've all done our part to try to humanize the badge, we call it, and to demonstrate that they're law enforcement officers are people also. It sounds somewhat cliche to say that, but it's true. And we can't make a point, strong enough to that, in addition to the calling of being within the law enforcement profession, that there's a family man and a person with a great many interests outside of the workplace.
I was talking with one of his relatives the other day. He described him to me as a great man, very caring, and would do anything for anyone. And you kind of see that in his character described by other people who he touched throughout his life. We mentioned that he studied criminal justice at IUPUI, eventually went to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. He was an assistant squad leader, an honor graduate, and was also the recipient of the Glenda Mercer Memorial Award, which is given to a graduating recruit for exceptional performance in the Academy's training program. It's traditionally presented to the student who achieves top academic standing among their class, and his fellow recruits, those who were in his unit. We also saw one of those young men who was sitting by the memorial outside the Beech Grove Police Department, just in a lawn chair, just sitting out of respect for him.
Yeah, that was heart-rendering to see, wasn't it?
That
image,
too?
Yeah, indeed. And but it's a time to reflect and time to think about the good times and the challenging times. And your time at the Law Enforcement Academy is where your career starts. Now he had served with the Marion County Sheriff prior to that, and then with the Eskenazi Police Department. But as far as full-time municipal law enforcement, the academy frequently is where that career starts. And the achievements that he did there were very special. And the Glenda Mercer Award, she was a long-serving instructor there at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and just, you could say, legendary. And so they named that award after her and her career of service there. And so obviously he performed exceptionally well there. And being from the Beech Grove community as well, there's something special about that when you're serving the community that you grew up in. People know you even all the more. And none of this is unusual when it comes to people serving within the law enforcement profession.
Well, you also talked about humanizing the badge. I think that's a great way to humanize the badge, is to have someone who has grown up in the community, who people know as
Absolutely.
As a member in the community, who's plugged in and who has roots and who's left an impact many years before his service as a police officer.
Yes, well stated. And all of the interests, the family interests, the outside interests, it's far more than that. Far more than just the law enforcement service. I mean, obviously that's important.
Yeah.
We're all well aware of that. But the family person, the motorcycle enthusiast, favorite rock group was Metallica. Remember reading about that. And
we'll probably hear some of that today during these eulogies. We'll learn more about Brian Elliott, the police officer who gave the ultimate sacrifice, but also just who he was. Maybe even hear some Metallica.
Yeah, I'm sure the family friend will be sharing some of those stories, as well as perhaps the mayor and the chief. But yeah, and I'm sure there'll be some moments of levity there as well. There has to be humor within our profession, even though this is not necessarily a humorous moment. Sometimes bringing those moments of levity can help break the tension of a very somber day like today.
How is an officer's legacy, do you think, carried forward after a loss like this? How do we make sure that Officer Elliott's legacy is not forgotten?
Yeah, it's a great question in several ways. I think just continuing to appreciate the endeavors that law enforcement officers make on a daily, nightly basis in every community here in Central Indiana and across the country. If nothing else, just coming up and saying, "Hey, thanks, I see you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you." It can be just as simple as that.
Taking a look here at Officer Elliott and his lovely wife, Erin. Again, their marriage was described as a testament to love and partnership. They were married in October of 2023. Brian is the son of Robert and Paula Elliott. Got a brother named Sam, a sister named Rachel, as we mentioned, grew up in Beech Grove. The Beech Grove community knows the family well. Someone who clearly made an impact from an early age. Why do you think it's so important, Gary, to remember not just how he died, but how he lived? You were telling me it's very important that we talk about Brian Elliott beyond the badge.
Yes, that is very important, and because yes, your law enforcement officers in every community are public servants indeed, but far beyond that, again, family people, community involved beyond the public safety law enforcement service. He was the vice president of the Circle City Cigar
Club.
Yeah,
Yep.
Circle City Cigar Club, and motorcycle enthusiast, and musician, and all of the things that he was involved with. And so it's important to not only recognize the life of service,
Mm-hmm.
but the life lived, the life well lived. And there's a lot of symbology that goes into that with these funeral services, in addition to the law enforcement service. And we'll see some of that throughout the course of the rest of the morning and the afternoon here.
One of the requests from the family, I would presume, comes from the personal side of Officer Elliott, which is they are asking that in lieu of flowers, that we consider donating to Pepper's Pals Cat Rescue. So one would presume that perhaps Brian Elliott had a love for cats.
Had an affinity for our pets, and many of us do. And yeah, what a great gesture to be able to support a local not-for-profit like that, and to be able to offer that support in remembrance of Officer Elliott. Yeah, that's great.
We're taking a live look now inside the Beech Grove High School gymnasium, where officers continue to file in for today's funeral service of Beech Grove Officer Brian Elliott, who was killed 1 week ago in the line of duty. Family and close friends are right up there in front, obviously, and then members of the community have also been invited to be a part of today's public service, to say a final goodbye, but also to celebrate the life of this officer, and Beech Grove native, a Hoosier through and through. And then you are also seeing dozens and dozens of men and women in uniform, police officers, other first responders, Marion County Sheriff's deputies, law enforcement officials from around the country who are coming to pay their respects as well. This is just outside the gym in the hallway, where it looks like the final few are getting ready to file in. Earlier it was pretty packed there with police officers waiting to have their turn to file into the gym. Looks like most of them have made it. We're just waiting for the final few before the service can begin. And Gary, what can we expect in today's service?
Yeah, we're going to see a few speakers, certainly the mayor of Beech Grove and the police chief, who's just an excellent person in addition to being an excellent chief. They've done well, all things considered, throughout all of this most challenging period. No chief wants to have to do this. Nothing can ever prepare you for it, but they've done admirably in what has been forced upon them. And so we'll see the reverence of the profession, of the person, of the family. Everything that we see here today being done is all planned, and it's all coordinated, and it's all done at the approval of the family and of the agency, of the Beech Grove Police Department. But most importantly, there's nothing that's done that's not done with the approval of the family, ultimately.
So the family, understandably, has the front row seat to today's funeral service in terms of organizing it, making it be what they would like it to be. But how involved is the law enforcement community in helping see that happen?
Yeah, very much so, and that's a great topic to talk about, actually. So there's a group from the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, the Critical Incident Response and Memorial Team, and there are several, about a dozen or so, a few more officers from around the state that immediately respond when there is a line of duty death. They'll respond right to the hospital, and they will start the organizational process immediately when it comes to how to honor the fallen officer and his or her family. Their input and their guidance is indispensable when it comes to the affected agency. They're on autopilot. The chief, the deputy chiefs, the entire department there at Beech Grove, they're very much on autopilot. So having that memorial team, critical incident response and memorial team, come in and provide the services and the support that they provide is absolutely indispensable.
The Marion County Sheriff's Department covering the Beech Grove streets today to allow the Beech Grove officers to take some time and be at today's service and honor and remember their brother in blue, which is also something that we have seen before. When an officer is killed in the line of duty, other police departments will cover those shifts as long as they're needed.
Indeed, they'll cover the shifts, but in addition to that, Officer Elliott has never been alone ever since this incident occurred. There's always been a police officer with him around the clock, at the coroner's office, at the funeral home, there at the Beech Grove High School. Everywhere he's gone, it's been under escort and with other officers with him. And what a comfort that provides to the family and to the other officers at Beech Grove. And people will sign up to do that, in shifts from every agency, throughout the state. I mean, anywhere. Yeah. There'll be people sign up for that to do the casket watch.
And it's worth underscoring that is done by design. I can remember Monday night when we were reporting this story and throughout the process and learning that Officer Elliott had died. From that moment on, we saw the escorts and all of the officers there, and that is done with purpose, with great purpose and design.
With great purpose, yeah. The Indiana FOP has created what really is a nationwide model when it comes to how to coordinate and conduct these officer memorials, and sadly we've had far too much experience at doing these. But they really have created a model that other states have followed when it comes to how to conduct these memorial services and how to provide the services to the family, to the agency. There's been a Beech Grove officer has been assigned to the family from the very beginning also. Whatever the needs are, whatever the things that the family needs done, that officer is responsible for coordinating those and making sure that they get done, that are capable of being done. So something we've learned the hard way over the years is to provide those services and that support, especially the wellness, resiliency aspect of what we do. Being able to have those diffusing, those debriefing sessions, and being able to invest in the emotional wellness. That's been a really big point of emphasis over the last, probably 10, 15, maybe 20 years or so. That sadly we've had to learn the hard way. But making those investments is a worthwhile endeavor to make and continuing those services through the FOP, through the concerns of police survivors, COPS is the acronym, and a great many others who will provide that continuing support for the family and for the Beech Grove Police Department in the days, weeks, and months to come.